Hey, what's up, guys? This is Jesse, and today I want to talk about the Fang Warrior from Crusaders of Light. Now, something very unique about the Fang, it's actually my favorite PvP talent path in the game. The second would be Forest Guide Ranger, and then the third would be a Verity Spirit Mystic. Templar Paladins, I think, are way too overpowered in PvP still. But I want to talk about the Fang Warrior, and it's really cool. There's so much that a Fang Warrior can do in a fight, and having one in your team, whether it's 3v3 or 5v5, a Fang Warrior does some decent damage, buffs the group, and does incredible crowd control. What I want to do is talk about a few of the skills and some of the runes, etc. But yeah, let's get into it. So I'm gonna do a quick demonstration of how I would fight if these guys were 3 enemies. There we go. Yeah, so this is, there's a lot of different rotations and skills you can use, but there's a few things, it's all situational, really. Like there's a good PvE rotation, but in PvP it's a lot different. You gotta kind of react to the situation. You can't just do your PvE rotations in a PvP fight and expect it to work every time. But there's a few things that I want to just mention. First of all, Tempest Rage, which is this spinning one here, this should be kept up all the time. It's less of an ability, like less of a skill and more of a buff, really. I think you should treat it like a buff. Keep it off cooldown. So basically it should be up all the time. It does nice AoE. With Fang, it has a much larger range. You can actually reach people that are incredibly far away. Let's see if I can show here. Yeah, so I'm standing here, and I'm still hitting this target dummy. Let's see. So Fang, if you noticed here on the description, it's always good to, no matter how many guides you read, but it's always good to read the descriptions of things like runes and skills. If you notice here, it says Tempest Rage range is increases and it decreases the enemy armor, which is very good. It's kind of like Shadow Crows for a tamer. It can debuff enemies, thus increasing the group's DPS. The other move I wanted to explain was the Death Gaze. I believe that's what it's called. I don't play Fang that much, but I do really enjoy it when I do. Death Gaze, yes, this is the class ability. It's a hook. A lot of people just call it a hook. This should probably be your first move on Mystics and Rangers. You want to get them close and just kind of beat the crap out of them. Fangs are really good at taking down Mystics and Rangers. They can really take on any class. They're very versatile, but something about the Rangers and Mystics, Fangs just excel at. This hook is incredibly strong. My character is very, very weak. He's I played him many months ago. I didn't really focus on him except for adversary PvP, which was a lot of fun for me. But yeah, your hook, aka the Death Gaze, does a lot of damage. And there's also this ability, it's the Hammer Throw. I forget the name of it. Let's see. Deadly Forge, yes, of course. So this slows the enemy's health recovery. But in Fang, the most important thing about it is it actually resets your hook. So if you notice here, So my skills are a little low, but if you notice, this one says has a 30% chance of resetting the Death Gaze when you use Deadly Forge. So you should kind of want to use Deadly Forge as often as possible, but always right after Death Gaze, so it can reset. Lava Quake is a lot stronger in Fang. It's usually generally a weak move, but it's cool because it gives you a shield, even if you're not in tank spec. I like to, sometimes if I'm desperate need for health, I like to do Lava Quake and then pop both my blessings. You generally should keep them kind of off cooldown of each other, but if you need a nice boost of health, this kind of works for me. Yeah, so the thing that's really cool about the Fang is it's, like I said before, incredible crowd control. It's hard to explain with the target dummies, but Death Gaze would interrupt someone's skill. Let's say a Mystic's trying to heal. You could use Death Gaze, interrupt it. You could do a Heroic Leap. That would interrupt it too. You can also use your Chains. That would interrupt it. And your, what is this one called? Magma Spikes? Yeah, Magma Spikes. Oh, love this move. So basically in Fang, never use Meteor Crater. Never, ever, ever use it. Okay, you can, but it's not really recommended. Magma Spikes is by far better. It does a lot. It does more damage. It doesn't stun them, but it floats them in the air. They're going to be just as helpless. And it also, you need the Magma Spikes for your buff. Buff here. Magma Spikes increases teammates' crit by 30%. Now, that's a huge boost, even at 60 path. It's 30% increased crit for anyone that's nearby. So obviously that's going to be for you. And yeah, you're going to want to have that. The Tempest Rage, I said you should keep that up. Lava Quake is a nice little shield. It does some damage. You should use that as much as you can. I don't have the War Horn, which I wish I did, but I haven't worked on that reputation yet. But in adversary PvP, you can't even use your high level skills. So Fortitude and War Horn, you wouldn't even be able to use that in adversary. The runes, my runes are very low, but you're going to want to have anything that increases your damage for Tempest Rage. The chains are not so important for Fang, but you want to increase the Deadly Forge damage, of course. That's a big move for Fang. Magma Spikes damage, you want that. This is very good. I should actually increase this a little more. It has a very small chance to reset your skill, your transfer skill. So that would be for the Fang, it would be your Death Gaze. And the Warriors, no matter which path, it helps to have this skill. The Lava Quake damage helps. Meteor Crater, you can kind of ignore that one for now. Normal Attack, very, very important. Your Burning Blessing and your Flaming Sigil, those are, those are kind of like your health regeneration for the warrior. They say warriors, paladins can self-heal. Warriors can also self-heal. You just have to time it right. The Wrath status, that's very good, yes. So when you use Anvil Drop or Trample, what is Trample? I don't even know what Trample is. Anyways, yeah, so when you use Anvil Drop, there's a good chance to increase your crit. Now, if you think about that, imagine if you did your Anvil Drop and then immediately did your Magma Spikes. If you've got a Wilderness proc on this one, well, mine is low, so I would have 11%. But increase with the Magma Spikes, that would give me 30 plus 11, that would be 41% increased crit. That is insane, even for this low path. Yes, the Tempest Rage. increases the damage. The shield effect, anvil drop damage. These are all decent. The 8% chance to have 20% damage reduction. This is really not important for a Fang. You shouldn't be the one taking the damage. This is more for tanking, but it's good if you want to be an off-tank Fang. You know, it does help, but I would put your points in other places first. And yeah, that's pretty much it. So let me just run through that again real quickly for the skills. I should have explained earlier, this is more of a PvP guide rather than PvE. PvP for me is the ultimate way to play. It's hard these days because a lot of people, you know, they're boosted with all their legendary weapons. But yeah, I still like to have fun. There's a lot of people that still don't know how to play, and it's fun to have some PvP fights with them. But I also like a challenge. You know, you can only get better if you fight people that are better than you. So yeah, so I'm just going to run through this one more time again. Keep your Tempest Rage up. You're going to want to do your Death Gaze as often as possible. You want this for the float. Another float, 2 floats in a row, bam, Tempest Rage, keep that up. You can use your shield, your sigil, Burning Blessing, bam, that's some extra health right there, bam. Oh, the guy's trying to escape, what do you do? Chains, oh, and then you can do the Death Gaze, and you can do Deadly Forge. It didn't reset this time, but very often does the Deadly Forge reset your Death Gaze, which is really cool. Especially if you just use your Death Gaze. Oh, great. I'm getting a skill bug here, which is not helping my rotation. But, yeah. So, right there, I used a Lava Quake, and it actually reset my Death Gaze instead of the Deadly Forge. But, there we go, another one. So that would have been 3 Death Gazes in a very short amount of time. That does an insane amount of damage. Death Gaze is huge DPS for the Fang. But yeah, so Fang is incredibly fun. Doesn't do as much damage as, say, as an Executioner, but you do buff the team. You have a lot of crowd control, and it's really fun to just be able to have a lot of moves for different situations. Unfortunately, there's no shield break on the warrior like the Paladin has, but you can still reduce their healing with your Deadly Forge or your chains. But the Death Gaze is what you want to focus on. Make sure you watch your Death Gaze cooldown all the time. You want that up as often as possible. Same with Tempest Rage. I know I'm kind of messing up here a little bit, but your Fang is gonna make a huge difference in a PvP situation. So yeah, I hope this was helpful, and have a great day, guys.